Hello everyone and welcome to Neo Racing League. We are here after a bit of waiting for Season 4. Division Alpha is back for yet another extraordinary season. 24 drivers will contest the season, 20 of them being full-time and the other 4 being reserves. I am your new and season-long commentator James Jackson and should be here for the all 14 rounds of the season. I can hear myself. That's not a great start, but here we are. I am James Jackson, and I'll be here for all 14 rounds of this season. I will be joined by a few different voices throughout the season, but tonight I'm here to oversee the action. Let's just take a look through our driver lineup. 20 drivers in our full-time grid. Consisting of the 10 usual teams you'll see on the F1 game. Claessens and Anderson, Jay and this Neo guy in the Mercedes. Marchmeister and Imperium will take over the Haas team with Gary Gator and Parkster in the Stake Sauber. Aston Martin will have Hamflap Kelly and Shoot Fizzy in the Aston Martin. D-Boss and Rampant Gamer will take the Scuderia's full-time seats. Williams will have Roopsy Cola and Temp consisting of their driver lineup, with RB having DJ T2 2024 and Bomb Via in the sister of the Red Bull team. The main team, Pump Mantis and Alistar will make the senior teams lineup. Like that makes any difference in this extraordinary grid that we have. The McLaren Papaya team will have Marcel and Husky taking over the team's lineup, with JC4197 and his teammate David will be in the Alpine garage, rounding off our 20 driver full-time lineup grid. We have a few reserves who have been confirmed for this season as well. Smola, our season 2 champion, will be racing at some points throughout the season. Maracom is his game tag. Modernity will also be racing with Constant Soda 368 and Nutria, who is racing tonight, reserving for a Mercedes of that guy Neo, who is not here tonight. Our calendar then: 14 rounds of the season, 3 sprint races. Tonight we are here at Vegas for our opening round. We'll then go to Abu Dhabi for the Yas Marina circuit for the second round, which is our first sprint race of the season. Spain will be going to Spain for the third round, followed by the Spa-Francorchamps circuit as we kick off our the month of February. Australia will be round 5 before break week before Austria for round 6 on February 26th. China will be our halfway point of the season for round 7. Imola will be then around 8, followed by Bahrain, our second sprint race of the season, in round 9. Saudi Arabia will then be round 10, followed by a further week break. Then we'll be going to the back to the Iberian Peninsula for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and then our third and final sprint race of the season will be the Netherlands on April 16th, and then 2 more rounds after that, with the British Grand Prix being our penultimate, and the Baku City Street Circuit rounding out our 14 race calendar. But all eyes are on our first round of the season, which is at the Las Vegas Strip Circuit. 3.853 miles, 6.201 kilometre circuit of 17 corners in an anti-clockwise rotation. 2 DRS zones opened back in 2023. We will have a 25 lap race around the circuit. 2 DRS zones, many long straights around this circuit as we go through our opening round. Las Vegas has hosted 6 Formula 1 races over the years, 4 of them at the Caesars Palace circuit from 1981 to 1984 before being dropped from the calendar. Las Vegas has also since returned as a venue using the Las Vegas Strip circuit that we are using tonight since 2023, having both Max Verstappen and George Russell sit up on top of the step here. Samola Maraklom is our previous winner here in season 2, our only race we have had in Neo Racing League at the circuit. But we will have another driver to add to that list tonight. And as we go to the race qualifying, we should be getting underway very shortly, as my game is not coming through. There it is. As we should be going through very shortly. Currently 12 drivers in lobby right now. I am just waiting for a bit of confirmation on when we are going to get going. There's a couple of drivers we are waiting for, but it should be an exciting season nonetheless. We were here last week with testing for the season last week, both Saturday and the Wednesday prior to that. We saw a couple of drivers getting used to racing around both Miami and the Sao Paulo circuit, as a couple more drivers just joined the session. We believe to have 15 tonight, so not quite a full grid, but be enough for a couple qualifying sessions. A decent size, but we will be interested to see a mix of PlayStation, Xbox, and a PC driver or two as the voice chat gets suspended. Thank you, game. I've pressed that wrong. But with the 20 drivers, we'll just quickly get the driver lineup back up. We've got Classens, Anderson, Mercedes. Unfortunately, like I say, Anderson, this guy Neo, is not here tonight, getting replaced by Nuria. If I do say someone's name wrong, I do apologise. These are all new names to me, apart from one or two, so we are just getting used to them. We had an intense four-way fight for the race win in our shortened 35% race around Sao Paulo last week in our pre-season race. An epic but touring car-like race nonetheless. You will expect to see that all season long as we go throughout the season. Now we are about to get underway with everyone starting to ready up and qualifying about to get underway, and now it's time. We are just moments away from Neo Racing League starting the season once more. It's been a few minutes delay, but we've had a lot of waiting to do over the last year. Over the last couple months or so. I would say it's not been what it's but with a couple everyone starting to ready up now, we will get started. And 13 drivers will be here for the start of the session. We should have a couple more joining as the session goes on. We'll go back to the main feed. Just 10 seconds now as we go away. Hopefully audio is okay. If it does need to go up or down, just the game audio or the game audio, just let me know in the chat. If it should be okay, considering it was just the same it was last week, but we will soon find out, as now we enter qualifying for Las Vegas, that opening round. And it's not going to be long, where everyone will be looking eagerly to get out there on whatever tyres they will. Like, some will use soft, some will use probably a medium run to try and get used to the circuit once more. If you go into each circuit and each race knowing that you cannot knowing that even though you've probably driven this track hundreds of times before, done thousands of laps, it'll be very, very different to very, very different when you get into a race situation like this. You need to settle in. You need to make sure you are ready. We're just waiting for Rupsicola to eventually get confirmed to go. And there we go. Just leaving to the last couple of seconds, letting everyone get ready. But now we go green. 18 minutes for this session. 13 drivers on track. I wonder if, because we're supposed to have 2 sessions, so I wonder if it'll just go straight to Q2 or what we're doing. Might just double check what we are doing. And yeah, we're just now waiting for everyone to get underway. We are quickly gonna get a few things up. I've just got the wrong thing up. That's not what I wanted. We'll get a couple of things up like we'll get track, we'll get lap data, we'll get some data up for everyone. We love a bit of so we're now gonna wait for everyone to come out the pits. Let's get this season started with a bang. I've just seen in the Discord chat, so hopefully we'll be getting going shortly. No one is leaving the pits yet, as I now need to switch out to that. There you go. Now I can see everything. Retire. Okay. So we're just waiting for everyone to just get ready to go. I'm not exactly sure why we're waiting too long. It's a very, very long wait nonetheless. Just got. There we go. Here's our first driver. It's taken us a couple of minutes, but everyone getting their setups on. Make sure they have the right setups on. You do not want to go into this race in particular with a circuit that's either side of it on the real life calendar or any with this one. We got Marcel in the McLaren. He is the first out on track and very, very slowly coming out on track. I'll just get rid of that now, and we will be getting underway. McLaren Ali Stott has now joined the session. 14 drivers that makes for us to go around this race. We should have one more joining us by the end of this first part of the session. Everyone will be using this session just to get used to the track. Try not to crash. You do not want to crash at this stage because you have another 2 sessions to go. You need a bit of time. So we'll be able to use this time to just get used to, see where everyone's pace is at, see where everyone's confidence is at, no less. Marcel in the McLaren is going to be the first little bit of taster as slowly people start to filter out onto the track. The Sauber of Gary Gator, our race winner from the Sao Paulo pre-season race, followed by Rupzi Cola, one of his rivals in that race. He is also on an outlap. The Ferrari of Rampant Gamer is also coming out of the track, so we've just got a couple drivers now coming around. I just realised you can see my mouse. But here we go now. Coming down the back straight. The McLaren will just need to get the tyres warmed up a bit more. Not very much movement from the McLaren in terms of just trying to get the tyres warmed up. He just doesn't seem to really care. He might be going for a double outlap here. He's got the DRS open. Let's go on board with the McLaren as we go through the final chicane now, as he looks to build up his lap as we get towards the line. And nope, he goes back into the pits. Okay, we are just going to go back into the pits. So that is that one. We're going to have the Sauber just do so as well. Sauber has done a invalidation on his lap, so he's done a wet as well. Intermediates. So yeah, everyone's just going around, just making sure they have been out of the, for the session before retiring. So we've got a couple minutes of waiting to go. And let's see. Yeah, just got a bit of waiting now to do. So like I say, Las Vegas are very, very long straights, very, very high speed. Nonetheless, you'll be reaching up well over 200 miles an hour at the circuit. As the Ferrari of Rampant Gamer has decided he wants to do a lap on the intermediates. We are waiting for one more driver. Got to show you like a practice session for now. Okay, thank you much. Just waiting on one more driver to get into the session. So we've got practice, a little bit of practice then. So we'll see drivers going around on intermediates for whatever reason, hitting the wall like that. Not a very good start. If you want a bit of practice, thank you much. A very new lead to me, so I'm not exactly sure. So we're waiting to go into Q2 fully. Just don't want to crash here. If you crash in this session, you're out of qualifying. It doesn't matter. You are out of qualifying. You do not get a second chance if you retire from the session. And now we will be just watching as other drivers go around the circuit. I'm going to see if I can find someone who is on an actual dry tyre. Nope, on Inter's Red Bull coming up. That's some. Is there some driver on dries? No, he's on Inters as well. So we've got a load of drivers just doing intermediate runs on dry tracks. They're just trying to get a bit of usage out of the track, I guess. Try and get a bit of just try and get the rubber down. Just try and understand the circuit a little bit more as everyone as one more driver has joined. Keon Marshall makes it the 15th driver. Everyone should be coming into the pits at some point to retire once everyone's in. Got 12 minutes of the session left to go. As now just everyone just getting their laps in, just trying to learn the circuit. There is an Alpine that has retired and he's hit crashed. Yeah, that's what I mean. The Alpine of David has crashed into the wall. I wonder if he was on intermediates. Was he? Yes, he was. So he might have had a bit of problems in terms of grip there on those intermediate tyres. This is what you've got to worry about. Being on those intermediates, being on those wets, not having the grip entirely in your favour. Overheating the tyres could end up with you in the wall. And now that has completely ruined David's session, who is now got to wait through Q2 and Q3. Have not really any running on this. Oh, and that's a rampant gamer almost round there, as a couple drivers are now coming round to the line. 1 minute 40.4 for his first run. He is on the intermediate tyres, however, so we will have to just take that with a little grain of salt. People will be burning their tyres quite a bit through Chlorine Musher. It should intensify. Oh, okay, thank you. I'm going to have to get used to these names. So you're not. So this is going to be an interesting one for me to get used to. A couple stewards here, live stewards nonetheless. If they do decide to give penalties for any specific reason, or for whatever, I don't think they'll do it in the race, but they'll be able to clip instance if very much needed. The Mercedes both setting times now. Nuria actually done his on the soft compound of tyre, so he's decided he wants to use a bit of soft to get used to the track a little bit differently to what everyone else is. As the McLaren of Marcel is on a lap, he will be on the inters now. He's gone from softs to inters, so he clearly made that mistake of who he's going to of going from the softs for the first run. Maybe he just wanted to scrub him in and gets oversteer on that chicane curb. That is very, very unfortunate from the McLaren. They're just very lucky to get away with that, if anything. Could have caused himself damage to the underfloor, though. Doesn't box, though, so he continues on with the rest of his lap. Sets a 36.1, few seconds behind the Mercedes. Like we say, just a bit of practice. They're all trying to get used to the track on a set of tyres, nonetheless, which is intermediate. Parkster is in the Sauber and puts himself into P3 as Gary Gator is the next one across the line. He's on the full wet tyres currently, and has a bit of damage on that right side of his front wing, left side for us. But we will continue on now. I will get rid of that as we get our early laps in. We've got 9 minutes of the session to go, just for these drivers to get used to it. Considering that was on wets over inters, that would be severely overheating. Gets a bit of contact there with the wall, has a bit of damage as well, like we said, mentioned earlier. So that is so he's very lucky to get away with the amount he has so far. Considering David, and that's another clip hit to the wall. Very, very unfortunate. There is a Sauber that is going very slowly. Will be Parker, who's lost about half his front wing now, and that is now just not what you want to be seeing if you're the Sauber team of a teammate of Gary Gayer, because if you have this issue earlier on in the session and you're gonna almost end up with a retirement, with some if you are in the case of going to retire, that could be absolutely devastating for your first race of the season. Yes, you have a chance to get back through the race, but you need to be desperately careful to manage to avoid such incidents. Just right, you cannot risk losing your front tire in a practice session, no less, on these tires. It will just come. Like, if you're looking for a championship, it could be absolutely devastating opener. Yes, you have 13 rounds to gain it back, but that's not the point. You could lose 25 points here to your rival, and all of a sudden those 25 points are the most the difference between you and a title. So you would not be happy if that's the case. If you're like David tonight, you've already retired from the session, denting your confidence, whatever way you look at it, as the Sauber comes into the pits for his run after having damage. Rampant Gamer in the Ferrari is currently looking, I believe, to come to the pits. Nuria on a lap, he is on the soft compound of tyres, so the Mercedes, despite having damage, is just getting some laps in. He is the only driver on the dry weather compound of tyres, gets a massive amount of oversteer on entry there. Brakes on the rear are really not working there. Has a massive amount of oversteer and gets very lucky. He's very lucky to get away with that. With just 7 minutes to go. This is the problem. They're all going to try. You do not want to push in this session. You need to make sure you get to Q2 because otherwise this session's null and void. You're just going to not be able to do anything with it. You're going to end up just in the wall and it's not really worth it. Which we've seen like most of the drivers stay in the pits for this first part of the session. Just relax a little bit. Get themselves comfortable. A couple of drivers have done outlaps, but no one, apart from that top 6, has gone out for a consistent number of laps. But with Nuria being the only driver out on the circuit and coming into the pits now, thank you everyone for leaving me with something to talk about at the very least. But a couple of drivers with damage in that opening part of the session, practice session, called practice Q1, whatever you want to call it. Very, very, very. Just you learn a lot. Drivers will learn a lot as a Sauber. One of the Saubers heading out of the pit lane it is Parkster heading out once more, as everyone else remains in the pit lane. So with that in mind, drivers will be trying just to make sure they can get a good run at this. You've got a little bit of practice. You've got a little bit of time. You do not want to end up in the wall. And like that, in the wall goes Parkster. Just runs straight into there. Again, they're running intermediates and you need to be careful. Oh, Marchmaster has left the session. I wonder if I... Okay, everyone's leaving the session, that's fine. Can someone just give me a confirmation on whether that is a restart or not? Oh. So okay, a couple drivers. So now we are having to restart. So I do apologise about the wait. We are just going to have to wait for... That is not what I wanted to do, but okay. So yeah, we'll just have to restart the session and wait for... Because of David, he crashed in the session, so therefore... and retired, so therefore he we just had to restart for him. Very, very unfortunate from the... Alpine, but it's what's been decided. We're not going to be able to do too much, but we're going to carry on. I've just pressed that again. As we go into very good start to the season, but we're going to carry on. So now we are just going to load back up the session and what's so yeah, we're just going to wait for everyone to get back into the lobby now, hopefully very quickly, because everyone was already in that previous lobby. But we're now just got to wait a little bit longer. Very unfortunate. So we'll just go quickly back into the calendar, I guess. Yeah, sure. We'll talk about the calendar. I'm gonna very quickly. Session will restart. Q will not take place once it restarts. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Um, I'm so glad people used the YouTube chat to actually message me and tell me what's going on. Thank you, March, because it's really the most useful thing. So I don't have to keep switching between Discord. So Vegas, we're starting at Vegas tonight. Abu Dhabi will be a very, very different, even though very long straights, they're still very different circuit considering the Sector 3 and Sector 1 regions. So with that being a sprint, no less, it will be a very difficult race for the a very different race for all the other drivers. Most drivers will never have done an Abu Dhabi sprint race. Same with Bahrain, who would have never done that. Aston wanted to. Well, we're about to find out. Aston Martin 1-2 could be on the cards, but it depends on what the other drivers are managing to do. This circuit, this calendar is very much a test for all the drivers. In basically every form of aspect: high speed, low speed, medium speed, tight, twisty tracks, and long strategic straights. Got a bit of strategy in there as well with Bahrain. Bahrain, you'll probably see a couple different strategies happen there because the mediums are so close to the softs in terms of distance. So that would be also very dependent on that. Well, most tracks will be probably standard soft, medium, or medium hard. There'll be a couple of circuits here which will throw up very, very different sorts of races. You're now just waiting for a few more drivers just to come in, get spectated, or just get themselves into the lobby. We should be going in a couple of minutes' time. Very hopefully we'll actually get this season started officially with some proper times on the board. Let's take a look at the track map once more. So, like you say, 17 corners. It's circuit, very, very long straights. That DRS straight down the Las Vegas Strip, very different to what you'll see on most circuits, because it's such a long straight. You just the DRS circuit zone is very short in comparison, so it's not so easy for the drivers to make an overtake, but it is very, very much a slipstream circuit, very much like what a lot of the NASCAR / IndyCar circuits are. Well, not so much the IndyCar, but NASCAR circuits are on the calendar. Long straights, not long straights, lots of slipstream in your one. NASCAR, known for its ovals, very much just how trying to slipstream each other, trying to strategize when you want to move to the front, because if you're at the behind, you can save fuel a little bit more. You can just slipstream. You can put people under pressure, cause them to make the mistake. You don't have to push. Be the one to push. You can push at 95% instead of 100%, which tends to be a lot of the reason why people do it. Especially on this game, it's quite easy to get a DRS overtake done. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm running out of things to talk about, but we'll carry on. Let's see. Let's have a look at I'm going to have a look at statistics because we need a bit of a statistical rundown on everything. I'm going to quickly just get a window up if everything goes okay. Yep, so yeah. So we've got drivers all across platforms. If you're new round here like myself, so this is going to be quite something to get used to. Most race wins go to Smola or Marocom. In terms with 12 race wins across 23 races, so very, very good win statistic. Over half of the races he's entered in, he has won. 19 podiums in the season, despite having less races than despite having less podiums than our most time podium sitter and most number of races, Dimitrov, or Joas Rhombus 75, who has 40 races and 32 podiums. His podium percentage is a little bit more, above four. Actually, it's about exactly the same. To be fair, it's actually exactly the same. Never mind, but they are very close in terms of statistics. Probably a top two drivers with the both points as well. 623 points total in the 3 seasons for Dimitrov Simola, with 515. Are we getting underway yet? I believe not quite. So yeah, there's a lot of drivers, a lot of statistics. I'm sure we are going to get used to who our top drivers for this season are. Some returning guys. This guy Neo, who's not here tonight but will be here this season. Pump Mantis racing previously. We've got Marchmeister, of course, the owner and founder of the server, who will be looking to try and gain the title. That all important title is what you need. Let's have a quick look actually while we're here. Let's have a look. Where's season? Because I'm pretty sure he did win. Try the championship. Did he not? I'm not sure. Well, I'm trying to kill time. So yeah, so Dimitrov won the first title, just 12 points ahead of Smola, who actually won more races but unfortunately missed the opening round and one of the American races, I believe, at Texas, followed up by a non-point scoring finish in Canada. So season one, despite missing out on that title, he did not disappoint in the second season, finishing ahead of his rival in season two, Dimitrov dropping down to P2, with Samola winning the majority of races that season. Who in season three, sweet that loads quickly, Classens, who took the title from Dimitrov, Samola, was not here nearly as often. I do believe. I believe he wasn't here at all, actually. Yeah, so he hasn't been. But Dimitrov, having raced in every single race, I believe. Yeah, every single race Dimitrov has raced and has not finished below second. Classens won the title over him by 6 points. So that rivalry will continue, I do believe. We should get going underway soon. Yep, there we go. Everyone is getting ready to go now. I need to start getting these statistics sheets onto this. But I do, well. Hello, Keon Marshall. Welcome to the stream. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Race should for this evening. Thank God we got one. Hopefully we've got it gets some exciting and clean racing. Give you a bit of a nice, easy evening and days to come, no less. So we've got 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, hang on, a couple drivers just to come into the session. I did not read if it was a full session or is it still a full session, or we've got 13 drivers in the session, or is it just single? I'll have a quick look quickly. Yeah, okay, we are retiring from the session. So we're just going to continue on. So we're going to start in Q2. We are just waiting for Rampant or someone to come back. But we will now be getting underway from retiring from the Q1 session so we can get to Q2. Have a proper elimination style format. And we'll be getting underway very shortly. 4 drivers yet to retire, but we'll just continue on. I think I'm waiting for 1 driver just to be re-added, no less, but we'll soon find out. Okay, I've just been told there is no rain. I just saw there was rain and then there's not rain. So we do have no rain for this evening as expected. It is the middle of the desert. No, well, I said middle, it's near the coast, but it is California after all. So we'll not, it's overcast, we hope. We'll see what happens. That continue. We got a few drivers just waiting on just to retire. Rampant disconnected while loading in. Ah, okay. That is. Can he get back in, or are we gonna have to restart again? We're just waiting on. We're just waiting on trying to get Rampant in. That's fair enough. We're just gonna try to get Rampant in. We've got. So yeah, we've got a couple more minutes of waiting. There we go. No one. So now we're just going to get ready. Couple minutes to go now, and we can get started. 13 drivers will race in the season. It's been a long wait, about half hour. With by the time I've rambled on a lot, and now we can get back to qualifying finally. A lot of rambling on my part, but we'll see how we get on. March hadn't readied up, mate. That's who was. Okay, so here we go then. Q2 and well, Q1 finally. Good luck, everyone. We are here. 13 drivers will contest. We might get another one in maybe at some point if they turn up, but it is now time. 15 minutes on the clock, counting down as we get going. Who is going to come out the first and who are we going to commentate over? Who's going to have all our attention in this brief moment? No one will want to come out onto the track because all of a sudden they all become camera shy. Here comes the Aston Martin of Handflap Kelly, who is our first driver to come out for qualifying, followed by a McLaren of Marcel. We're going to go down the pit lane. I've turned on the wrong telemetry. That's what we want. I should actually remember it's these buttons as well. Yeah, there. So now we will. That's push to talk. I did not realise that's push to talk. Well, I'll stray away from that one. We've got a couple of drivers now out on track. We've got Rupsi Cola, who is our first driver on the circuit now after overtaking Handflap Kelly. We've got everyone coming out of the track, much more of a flow of drivers than we had in the first session where we were just doing practice, waiting for other drivers to join. But Rupsi Cola will be quickly followed by Handflap Kelly. Both of them will be aiming to try and get in front of each other, I believe. But they're going to be in this, in turn, screwing up each other's pre-qualifying lap warm-up. We've got these two just fighting over position. This is not a race, lads. Come on, just give each other a little bit of room. Marcel behind them in third there. But the Aston Martin, he's just not giving the Williams any sort of room. Rupsi and Kelly on track, nose to tail. This has had a disaster waiting to happen. Absolutely, it's a disaster waiting to happen. But we got through it. We did not have any sort of immediate disasters. Here we go then. Rupsi Cola coming around to start his flying lap. Down towards turn one we go. And into there very nicely. Gets a bit of a lock up there. But he will continue on through turn 2, 3, and this is turn 4 technically. As we go on the exit, power down. As we go down the straight, ERS enabled there. You don't want to use too much because you'll need to use it for that long back straight for on the Las Vegas strip into turn 5. We go. Keeps it nice and tidy there on exit. Doesn't need to go too close to the wall. Just trying to manage your throttle. Try and get a lap in. No less. Lock up of the front left there as we go into the chicane. Very difficult section to get right here. very off balanced the car becomes if you do not have the right setup for just to keep it nice and tidy. Through now down Sands Avenue towards the left-hander before Las Vegas Strip. Into the corner, just a bit hesitant on throttle there as we go down the straight now, down the strip. No DRS until the latter part of this lap. He's kept a lot of his ERS here for the last little stretch. He's now using it as we go DRS enabled flat out towards the chicane. This is a very difficult braking point to spot as you go goes down there 200 miles an hour over that by a couple of them. But now through the chicane, does it quite nicely, mounts the curbs beautifully as we go down the straight towards the final corner. What time does the Williams set for everyone to chase? It will be a 31.9, which will be immediately followed by 4/10 slower Hamflap Kelly, and Rusicola will be plot himself a few hundredths behind now. Marcel, who now takes provisional pole position as everyone starts to set faster laps. JPS is now 31.3, half a second quicker than Marcel before Gary Gator comes in to 31.4, sets a time just over a tenth behind him. We're now going to go to David, who starts a lap. The Aston Martin of Shootsy is coming up to set a lap 32.2 on his first lap. He is on the medium compound tyre zone. A couple of these drivers are deciding to use the mediums at this stage. Meanwhile, that is... Oops, that's not one. There you go. Bonvia is coming up to set his time of 35.6. Definitely not the most competitive. We will see from him. He will now start his proper flying lap as we've got a couple drivers now going down the back straight, just trying to get out of each other's way. As a lot of them have already set a time. 3 drivers have not set a time. 4 of them, Bonvia has not set a representative lap time. Gets a bit of oversteer there on exit as we go down towards the chicane now. Bit of a long left-hander, you want to be careful, but he screws up his braking and his gear in there, and I don't know if he's on a proper flying lap, so but we'll keep an eye on him as time goes on. There's a couple of yellow flags further back here. A couple drivers diving into the pit lane as a couple drivers start a second flying run on these tyres. JPS, our provisional P1 sitter for this session, is going for a second run. You've got to bear in mind, you've got 2 sessions. This is the knockout of 3 drivers. Bonvia, Parkster and Marchmeister currently in our bottom 3. As March and Parkster haven't been not set a lap yet. Bonvia coming up to the line as I wonder if he's going to be on a lap. Yes, he is. A bit of a quicker lap than he'd done previously. But is it representative? Not quite. I don't believe he has... Yeah, he's still rolling around without any sort of ERS on. So Bonvia is not going for quite representative laps. Just trying to get maybe a couple laps in beforehand. JPS currently on a lap of current P1 man. He's going down that straight. He's got his ERS enabled. He's going down the Las Vegas Strip now towards the chicane. I really need to get a track map up because it's so I actually know what each of the straights are. Down towards the chicane now, the final part of the lap. Can JPS get a decent and more improved lap time out of it? Never mind, he decides to box it. No surprise really, but it does. But considering he went for another run straight after, straight after another outlap, he might have decided he did not improve. Parkster is our next driver who will start a flying lap. He's going through the next couple of corners as we go down towards turn 5, and it's now a very, very interesting time for Parkster. You're in that bottom few. You need to get out of this session You want to push it, but you've got to be careful because you do not want to retire and end up not being able to compete in that all-important Q3 now rounding where the MSG sphere is as we go round the exit of turn 9 down Sands Avenue and towards the Las Vegas Boulevard. We go through 10 and now 11. To stick to the outside line before turn 12. That right-hander, left-hander, sorry, very difficult to get right. But Parkster is now down the strip, the Las Vegas Boulevard, as it's a quick kink of turn 13. Flat out, it's not even a corner really in anything as you go down this very, very, very long flat-out piece of tarmac towards turn 14 to 16. Probably one of the most famous straights there has ever been. Massive amounts of oversteer as he catches the curb. Parkster not having the cleanest of runs through there of 14, 15 and 16. That's going to cost him all the way down Harmon Avenue as we go through turn 17 and up to the line. What time does Parkster do? He pops himself into stays in P12, sorry, with a 33.2. Bomvia improved in that time to a 32.3 as the RB managing to get himself into that top 10, pushing David outside of it for a brief moment as everyone just get ready to go for another run. A couple of these drivers are now going to go for their second run or even third run. A couple of them. JPS attempted a second run earlier on in the session. He will be going but unfortunately did not complete it. Let's see if we can find someone who is on a lap. It's an Aston Martin of Hamplap Kelly, who is currently 2 temps up as according to our Delta. As we go down the DRS rate, can the Aston Martin improve into the top 5? We go round that chicane now. It's a bit wide coming through the exit, if anything, but he managed to make it work, cut across that second part of the chicane, so it doesn't matter too much. He probably won't lose too much time overall. 31.5 plops himself ahead of his teammate of Shoot Fizzle and puts himself into P3. 31 and now he is only 2 tenths, just under that actually, between him and currently provisional P1 man JPS Gary Gator. Sandwiches in between the two of them. Marcel has retired from the session. I wonder why. Has he caught damage at some point? And that is his race completely over. Qualifying session completely over, whatever way you look at it. So if people cannot get by him, and we might end up seeing only 9 drivers in the session as we go rounding rounding the rest of the session. Actually no, it was a Red Bull that is also off of pumped. Oh, that's a massive amount of damage for the Red Bull, who is not in the best positions, and he's now got even more damage, and that is very unlucky from Pump Mantis, who really needed to not have any sort of issues because he needed to get a good second run in to find his way up the table, because now you've got 4 drivers who are looking to get by you with 3 minutes 50 to go. It looks like the Red Bull session, who is on the cutoff, is in a world of trouble. Bomvia up still remains in P9. He is actually improved. He's got ahead of Pump Mantis in that moment. So the RB, despite this, has had a very, very good chance of staying ahead. But you have got 3 drivers right now who are looking to try and get by. Monchmeister will be going out, and he'll be going for one flying run. David comes up to the line, goes 9 tenths quicker and puts himself into P7, 500ths behind Roopsy Cola. The Williams in doing just about staying ahead of him in that for his previous time. But the Williams is actually off the road down towards the chicane. He goes back on it again. Don't know if there is any sort of damage to the Williams. No, there isn't. He continues on. The top 4 still in the pit lane. Do they feel like they're safe at this time? But we will have to wait and see. Bomvia still out on track. I wonder if he is going to prepare for another lap. No, he's still not got enough ERS. Pump Mantis has got to be distraught though, because if he cannot get out on track again and get another lap in before time runs out, that clock is ticking down fast. Marchmeister, though, a man who needs to get a lap in with just over 2 minutes to go, will go on board with the founder of the league as we go down towards turn 1. Rampant Gamer retires from session, thinks P9 is just about okay. He retires in the pit lane, no less. Massive amount of oversteers. I actually just noticed there is some rain. That is really about to be costly for Marchmeister, because that could ultimately cost him the getting into Q3, and that is awful for the Haas as we go into the second part, the next part of the lap. NEOsphere, he'll be rounding now, goes around that long left-hander before the chicane. He needs to get something in. He needs to get into the 32 part, get ahead of a 32.2, 6.3, but and at the moment a lot of other drivers retiring from the session, and and we will see Parkster and Pump Mantis will be on laps as well as Marchmeister, but all of these are on borrowed time because this rain has come down a little bit at the wrong time for the Haas as he goes down the straight. Where will the Haas go? He goes down. DRS will now be enabled as we keep on going, and he's just got to wait. He's at over 210 miles an hour before finding that braking point at just before 100-meter board into the braking. Gets on that curve. That will cost him a little bit of time there. Massive amounts of oversteer. The car is sliding here, there, and everywhere for the Haas, but will it be enough? As most of the drivers have retired from the session, Gary has actually retired on track. That is crucial here, as now March pops himself into P12, and I think that will be his session done. He will not have enough ERS to go again, so it is just Parkster who will try and settle up his 6 temps down, and that will be session over. The rain has ultimately been too much for the Haas, Sauber and the Red Bull to do anything, and that is session over, I believe. I don't think, yeah, that's Red Bull. It's not going to be able to complete another lap. So that will be our 3 drivers eliminated. Pump Mantis in the Red Bull, Marchmeister in the Haas, Parkster in the Sauber. P11, 12 and 13 are set in stone for the race. 10 drivers, I believe, actually. We've got Gary Gator, who retired on track. I don't know if Marcel did it on track, or he might have retired in the pit lane and just come out on track. He might have been very lucky there to get away with that. Gary Gator retiring on track has ultimately cost himself a chance at pole and a potential to beat JPS, who sits on top of the timesheets, as we just wait for the last couple of drivers to come across the line and pit, as we got a long wait. Marchmeister without any sort of fuel left in the car. He's on low fuel mode, but anyway, that is our top bottom 3 sorted. 10 drivers, maybe 9, because Gary Gator is out of the session, so our bottom 4 drivers are sorted. The Sauber completely distraught with that, unfortunately coming out, and just unfortunately for him ending up out of the session. That is not good. Well, Sauber looked ever so quick in the pre-season race in Sao Paulo. But anyway, JPS will lead the charge. Everyone will be trying to get ahead of him in the Q3 session. Marchmeister now retires, and that is our Q2 done. As we go into the final part of qualifying. And that is very unfortunate from Marchmeister. Yeah, it was just not... He just did not go the way of the bottom guys, who just didn't have time to get a final time on the board. Marchmeister unable to get a first time on the board without the rain, so that is game, set and match for him. This is an interesting screen to be stuck on. But one part of qualifying left to go. Yeah, here we go. Who could come out on top? It's very, very close at the top. Gary Gator now eliminated from the equation, I do believe. I am now waiting for something to come back on my screen. Yet 9 drivers will be left in the session. Marcel probably retired in the pits as he's coming out, so he might have been okay to continue. But the Sauber, Gary Gator, must be absolutely sure he was through, and he made an error or something happened to that Sauber to cause him to retire from the session. As we go to 12 minutes of qualifying left to go, 9 drivers looking to try and find some time to beat to get that provisional pole position, that old important provisional pole position. You want to be able to get ahead in some way, shape or form. Let's see, people going out on the intermediate tyres. A couple of drivers, well, Marcel is on the intermediates. Lots of drivers on the softs aiming to try and get a lap in as quickly as possible. I'm surprised drivers are not coming out on track as quickly, considering that we will. Considering that there is a lot on the line here. There is a lot on the line, but unfortunately, consider it as well, because if you do not get the conditions right, and I believe it's still raining. It is still raining to some extent, as the Shoot Fizzle has a massive error into that final corner left hander before the boulevard. The Aston Martin not having the best of days. He hasn't really done much in his opening session, but can he find some time? He is the first driver that will be setting a lap. He needs to get a clean lap in here, because it could be that everyone else ends up with worse and worse conditions, and that could be the reason he gets provisional pole. But with the rain looking like it's still coming down to some extent, we'll see what Shootfizzle can do into turn 1 now. He's just got to be cautious. He does not want to light up those rears, have any sort of understeer, have any sort of aquaplaning nonetheless from his Aston Martin down the straight now towards turn 5. There won't be, there is DRS, I didn't hit the button, but DRS for the Aston Martin down towards turn 5, up and up through around the MSG sphere, the probably one of the most famous site attractions in the world, but it is absolutely massive. As you go round 7 and 8 and through turn 9, can the Aston Martin find his way into a very good position. He's got quite a big gap to the cars around him, so this could be the best of the conditions we could get this session, or we might get a bit dry later on, gets a very massive amount of lockup, just a bit of sliding there on the entry into turn 12, down now the Las Vegas Boulevard strip, through a kink of long kink of turn 13, and now DRS for the Aston Martin over 214 miles an hour before finding the braking point down at turn 14 into turn 15 now, and 16. Does a very nice job keeping it high gears, getting a little bit of oversteer on exit there as up towards the line. Can Shoot Fizzle do enough to get himself a fairly big gap? 36.7, that's 4 seconds a lap off what we saw from our fastest time in Q1. 38.1 from the Williams. This is good news for the Aston Martin, as his teammate is now on a lap as we go through the chicane of 14, 15 and 16. Massive amounts of oversteer. The track is certainly getting wetter by the second as we go round that final part of the lap. 38.0, that's another domino that has fallen to Shoot Fizzle time. 37.7. Our fastest man in Q1 has not been able to set a fastest time in Q2. At this stage, Shoot Fizzle is in a amazing position right now. Marcel 36.9. I believe he was on the intermediates. He set a very good time on that and managed to get away with and get himself into P2, only 2 tenths off an Aston Martin who had much drier circumstances than everyone else. As now David, who retired in our practice session briefly before the start of the of qualifying, is on the intermediates as well. The Alpine could be on for a very good lap here, but he needs to keep it under control. He needs to maximise as best as he possibly can rounding that final corner up towards the line. Where does the Alpine go? P4, 37.8. As this could be a very, very mixed up grid here. And now, intermediates for the Ferrari of Rampant Gamer as he goes round turn 1 and turn 2. Can the Ferrari find his way into a solid position? He's going to have the worst of conditions though, yet he will be on the intermediates, so the working window will be slightly in his favour compared to the drivers who set intermediate laps before him. But it could be a very, very difficult time for the Ferrari. Bonvia yet again not setting. He's at the bottom of the drivers who have set a lap at this stage. Bonvia almost 8 tenths behind Nuria. I wonder if he will find any more time to get by, to get ahead of that Mercedes, but there's quite a massive amount of gaps, 4 seconds separating everyone. But these conditions are very, very difficult as the Ferrari is very much finding out into turn 12, almost hitting the wall as we go through the corner before the boulevard. But we're now going down the straight. He's just got to wait. ERS enabled. DRS will soon be enabled if it's still there. It is. It's just dry enough for the DRS as he's used up all of it. As we go down the straight, it will not have any left for Harman Avenue. As he goes through the chicane now, using the curbs a little bit there, getting a little bit of bounce in those springs, but down to in that suspension now, down towards the line. Can the Ferrari set a good lap time? And no, he invalidated. Never mind. I was not paying attention to the track map. I don't know when he invalidated, but that is very, very unfortunate from the Ferrari. And at the moment, that could be his session, P9. Not many drivers currently out on track. We've got Rupsi and David, I believe, on some sort of lap as we go. As he is 4 tenths down at this stage, so it's very, very unlikely he's going to make any major improvements. The wet rain just came at the right time for Shoot Fizzle, who seems to just get out early enough compared to his rivals, and do so and keep the car on track. That's what's crucial here. Yes, he had the best of conditions, but he had to keep that car on track and go into what is unknown territory. And the Alpine of David has backed out of that one. We will go to Rupsi, who is our next man to start a flying lap nonetheless. The Ferrari, who is further behind just at the moment, not having the best of times. Him having that invalidation, having used all his ERS, is going to struggle with only a couple minutes left to go, and on a track that is getting wetter. That is the crucial thing here. The track is getting wetter. The Rupsi P6 man is going to go for his flying lap, potential penultimate or final one for the session. The Williams round turn 1 and 2 fairly nicely through 3 and 4 onto Copel Lane now. DRS will be enabled once more as he's kind of sat at this mixed conditions where the intermediates seem to be favoured a little bit more. But is it just hit that stage where it's a little bit too wet? And now through turn 5, he's 500ths down. Williams, can he make the improvements needed into the corners that matter? The chicane, very, very difficult to get done in the dry, let alone the enters, and he's invalidated. That Williams is now got to restart and rebuild his ERS, because unfortunately for him, that is not going to be a valid lap as we go through the rest. Eagle just have to get recharged. Rampant Gamer currently on a lap at this time as we go down towards the turn 11 and turn 12 chicane. Will he have enough fuel? Yeah, he does 0.8, so that's fine, but he will not have enough fuel to go for one more run after this. This will have to be it from the Ferrari. Can he make the improvements? Can he get a valid lap in and get up the order in some way, shape or form? He's not using the ERS that he used at the initial start of the last lap, but he's going to go down towards the turn 14, 15 and 16 chicane And he validates once more at that chicane. And that Ferrari is not looking the most clean at this stage. And and unfortunately for him, that is... Oh, that's a massive spin almost into the wall, but it did go into the wall. And that is pure frustration from a Ferrari, which really needed to set that lap. And he will start in P9. Ahead of four drivers, but not in a position where he would have wanted to be, considering the session was not too kind to him in terms of track conditions. And now Marcel having a massive amount of aquaplane in there as he goes through turn 12. Very unfortunate from the McLaren, using his ERS now, but has he lost too much time in terms of that chicane, not chicane, turn 12, as we go down towards the chicane nonetheless. Can the Papaya car find that 10th and a half, gets a massive amount of understeer once more, and the McLaren just not finding the time here as he looks to dive it into the pits. David will be starting a lap, so you've got him starting a lap. I don't know if Bombia is on a lap. Bombia is on a lap. He's used up a lot of his battery though at this time. I wonder if he has improved, to be fair. He is now the 38 dead, so that 6th is probably where he's going to be. I doubt he's stuck on medium, so that is his session done. Who is this? Nuria, who is currently on none. So yeah, we've only got David, who is left in this session. He's 3 seconds down though, so that will most likely our grid, and DRS has now been disabled to add to that matter. So the track is now too wet for really anyone to do anything, and that is the session done, even if David wanted to try. Shoot Fizzle will take pole position for our opening round in Vegas, and it will start his championship in a very, very good way. Marcel will come with P2. Those first laps are what mattered in the end, and the rest was just history. P3 for JPS, who was our fastest man in the first part of qualifying, will be probably a bit frustrated that he didn't go out earlier than he did. However, knows he has good pace over his rivals, who are not in... he is the highest of his rivals nonetheless, so that is very good for him. David will be P4 after having crashed in the earliest part of the stream, but the Alpine has done what he needed to here. Nutria in P5, making the other Mercedes be and will be starting just behind his teammate in the other Mercedes. P6 for Bombia in the RB, before Hamflap Kelly will start in P7. Rupsi Cola in P8. Rampant Gamer, without setting a time in this final part of the session, will be in P9. P10 will be Gary Gator, and we've got 3 other drivers who I actually cannot remember who else was here. But that is our grid. That's our top 9. We've got 4 other drivers into that. 13 drivers will be contesting this race. Half the drivers on inters and half the drivers on softs contesting those times. So that was kind of a very mixed race, very, very, very mixed conditions, as we now get to go to our opening race of the season. Pole position, baby. Yeah, that's a very good lap from you, Shoot Fizzle. Absolutely astonishing job to get that lap in. Well, I'll see if you can hold on to that for the race. 25 laps lay ahead of you, so taking that pole position will be massively confidence boosting, as we are at a dry start to the session. But will it remain dry? That's the question. It was a bit of wet rain in the qualifying session that caused a tad bit of chaos and caused people a lot of struggle in that latter part of the session, particularly, and in the first session, Marchmeister not being able to set a time. We will have to wait a couple of minutes before we can go once more. Let's see what tyres everyone is going on to. That is not what I wanted. I wanted this. Mediums for everyone, apart from Marchmeister, who is on the hards at this time. I wonder if anyone else will make any sort of changes. If anyone is in chat, can you just let me know if there is actually a formation lap or not? Because I'm not actually sure. If there is, that will give me an opportunity to have a look. If there is a formation lap, I'll have a quick look as well. Would be. I should have already checked this beforehand because that will give me a whole chance to talk about things as well. Yeah, okay. Thank you, David. So yes, formation lap is enabled, so at least gives me a chance to like just make sure I'm actually on the screen ready for the 5 red lights. 2 drivers now on the hard compound of tyres. Marchmeister, Parkster, both on the hards. Will everyone else stay on the mediums and go for that medium hard strategy? Thanks, David. So formation lap will make I'm not used to formation lap on this game, so I'm gonna have to get used to what that's all about again. So Shoot Fizzle will be our pole setter, Marcel P2, JPS P3, David P4 will be our first PlayStation player, Nutria in P5 with Bonvia P6, Handflap Kelly in P7. Probably a little bit disappointed by that, considering he was closer to the front in Q1, but nonetheless, we'll continue on. There we go. We will be getting underway. There you go. But we will be getting underway now. Formation lap for the session. 11 drivers, on the medium compound of tyres. Marchmeister and Parkster, the only one on the hards. Good luck to everyone racing tonight, and we will hopefully have some exciting racing. 14 rounds of the season, fairly long season. In the terms of league racing nowadays, you mostly see 9, 10, 11 round seasons. Not here. 14 races. It's a very good season. There's some of the most unique tracks on the calendar, nonetheless. This one being one of them. Very long straights. Very high speed. You'll see it very similar to Baku in some circumstances, which are far around the season. Starting and ending our season with 2 high-speed straight circuits. Vegas being the newer of the 2, but this, in terms of cities, Vegas is probably the more luxury. Well, it's a very luxurious city nonetheless. So we've got 25 laps of racing around here. Very difficult to pull away with such DRS. Here's our strategies. Medium hard is looking as a one-stop. Is a possible strategy powered by AWS. Soft medium hard, it said there, but no one will be going for that. So medium hard, mediums from lap 1 to lap 11, and then lap 12 onwards, you'll be going to the pit window. Well, lap 11 onwards will be the pit window. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes into effect as well in terms of the teammates, because if you have 2 teammates very close, they're gonna have to all of a sudden work around one another. Get my mouse off the screen, that's help. But with everyone coming around to finish the formation lap, here we will go, and this is where everyone needs to just make sure they're lined up properly, because you do not want to muck up your and to start off with a very poor starting position. It'll be interesting to see if anyone gets disqualified for going over their pit box. Shoot Fizzle, Marcel lining up on the front row of the grid before Marchmaster and Parkster will line up on that back row. Very, very different angles from some of the drivers, but they certainly took advantage. Here we go then. We're going to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for Neo Racing League Division Alpha, and it's lights out away go for the season. And down gets a good start by Shoot Fizzle. Marcel not getting the most amazing of starts. David jumping ahead of JPS in the Mercedes, but Shoot Fizzle maintains his lead. McLaren maintains P2. David doing an excellent job there to maintain P3 ahead of the 2. He'll get P3 ahead of the 2 Mercedes. Rupsi Cola made up a position on Handflap Kelly, as a couple other drivers have made moves. Pump Mantis and Rampant Gamer I'll go side by side. There's 3 wide, and there's a couple drivers in the wall at turn 5 after a few bit of side by side action. Is there any sort of safety car called, or are we okay? No, we're going to continue on. No one out of this race. Pump Mantis caught up in that. He will have damage. So will Bombvia as well. But Shoot Fizzle continues to lead the way. There's still a couple, there might be another driver in there with damage, and that has really cost some drivers very early on. Shoot Fizzle now down towards turn 12, and now we'll have to defend hard. The McLaren will be coming at him, but there's no DRS until the end of the lap. So he will have a little bit of ease in terms of that, but he will have to deal with the McLaren being very, very close. JPS has dropped back from the lead 3 as the Mercedes has not kept in touch. The Alpine of David now to the inside. Does he make the move? Stick around on the McLaren. They're going to go side by side. There's a bit of contact there as they go through the 14, 15 and 16 chicane. The Alpine of David has made the move up to P2. Marcel has really dropped back. This has allowed Shoot Fizzle to get a little bit more of a lead as we end lap 1, 37.9. But that doesn't matter because we're going to go faster sooner rather than later anyway. Through the next couple complex now. DRS now enabled, a bit wide there from David though. McLaren could capitalise on that. Marcel got DRS, but so does the Alpine, and that's allowed him to close right back up to the Aston Martin. And this is now a game of chess, and what you want to do with this with the DRS. We're going to go into the chicane now. Can David find a way by? Because he want to try and get ahead and get a larger gap. Rampant Gamer has retired, and this is our first safety car of the season. I wonder if he got caught up with any other driver in that, and that is our first safety car of the season. 2 laps in. Bombvia has a bit more damage, I believe, now, and that is absolutely devastating for the Ferrari. Didn't have a great qualifying in terms of the final qualifying part of the session, and now is out the race. But this will allow Pump Mantis to get back into this as 12 drivers will continue on with the session. Bombvia will be able to pit and get a new front wing and probably a new set of tyres to try and go along into this race. But everything will just reset now. Shoot Fizzle maintained his lead, but will be coming into the pits. That is very, very interesting from the Aston Martin driver, looking to try and get a pit stop out of the way. I wonder if he picked up any sort of damage. Or is he just looking to pit? Did he think everyone else would pit because he's now gone onto the hard compound tyres? Maybe he knows that those hards can go to the end. That's held up his teammate Handflap Kelly though. Rupsi Cola and Bombvia both pit as well. So that has now left David to lead the way ahead of Marcel, JPS and Nuria, followed by Gary Gator, who retired in the first part of qualifying and could not, even though it was P10, could not progress to compete in the final part of qualifying. Mark Schweister will now be P6, Parkstar P7, Shoot Fizzle and Handflap Kelly in the Aston Martins will be P8 and P9, Rupsi Cola P10, with Bombvia and Pump Mantis now rounding off the grid. Pump Mantis getting a little bit of luck back after getting caught in that early collision, will be able to come back and try and make his way back through the field in some way, shape or form. Now that he is close to the field. One driver already out of the session, but it is a very chaotic start and I wasn't exactly sure what happened. I wish we could get some sort of replay on that. But it is what it is. We will have a couple drivers from Shoot Fizzle downwards, all with fresh rubber. Everyone else with a couple laps on their tyres by now. But it won't make too much of a difference in terms of pace if we just quickly look at everything. We've got 6 hard runners, and 5 medium runners and a soft runner of Pump Mantis. I wonder if Pump Mantis will come into the pits again now that he's caught close to the field, or whether he will stay on those softs and try and use that to get up the field. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he's trying to conserve his other medium and hard sets. As actually, Marcel makes his way into the pit lane. That is a very, very late call, because now that's going to drop him all the way down the order, whatever way you look at it. And honestly, if you're in that position, you might as well have not bothered, because the hard drivers will not probably, I really doubt, would go to the end from here. But, you know, he could do anything. He could try and make it back. Pump Mantis stays out on those soft compound tyres. But our biggest gainers here, Marcel Parkster, 7 positions gained, 6 positions gained from Gary Gator. Marcel's dropped 10 positions though, with Shoot Fizzle dropping 6. All of them in the bottom half though have pitted for the new sets of tyres. So we'll have to see how that comes into effect later as the race progresses. Everyone now behind the safety car, you can. And now it's just a wait to get ready and go racing. Yes, drivers have completed their drivers in the bottom half have completed their mandatory stops and their mandatory 2 sets of tyres, but it's not going to be that simple, because they need to make sure they can get if they want to try and get to the end, they've got to be very conservative on those tyres, and that means being a bit slower. Meanwhile, JPS, the top 6 really, will be trying to push as hard as they can to try and get away and try and create a gap if those drivers are looking to go to the end, which I really doubt they will. They've got a lot of racing to go, and I think those hards will certainly degrade at a too fast of a pace. Will we see the safety car come in this lap? Waiting for it to come in. I don't know. It might go for another lap. We're just now waiting for it to come in eventually. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe we'll go for another lap. And safety car is in this lap. So we're getting back underway as we head on to lap 5 of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. David will lead the way ahead of JPS, the 2 Mercedes JPS and Neutral. Gary Gator will be in P4 ahead of Marchmaster and Parkster. Those are your drivers who have not pitted. Shoot Fizzle and Hamplap Kelly have pitted, followed by Rupsicola, Bonvia, Pump Mantis and Marcel. As we get underway, David pulls the trigger and puts the pedal to the metal, and we go racing once more down towards turn 1. He doesn't get that any sort of attack there from the Mercedes behind, but Shoot Fizzle has made his way by, as there's a bit of battling behind. There's got the McLaren and the Red Bull going side by side for P9 and P10. And now that's a bit of contact there between the McLaren and the Red Bull. There is a couple drivers who are quite far down the order. I wonder if there's a bit of contact there further down the order, but we will continue on. There's no safety car at this time, as David is pulling quite a significant gap. We go down Sands Avenue now towards the boulevards, through 9, through 10 and 11, and towards turn 12. He actually has made a massive move. There's a down the inside move by the Sauber. He makes an absolute ballsy move there, but the Sauber having an excellent job now as he goes ahead of Nutria for P3. Can the Sauber maintain his position, or will we come under pressure from the Mercedes once more in trying to get his position back? Can the Mercedes? He looks right, looks left. He decides to go to the outside as there's a bit of free wide back movement in the background. Around the outside goes the Mercedes. A bit of contact there as he cuts across the chicane. Gary Gator managing to keep the position. It is very, very hard racing as you go through. There's a bit more contact. They're all over each other as they go down the straight. The Haas of Marchmeister is all over the back of them. They're trying to find a way past each other. Shoot Fizzle down the inside. It's a bit of contact, and therefore he's now been spun round. Luckily, he's got away without any damage, but the Aston Martin has lost a bit of time there, as now that has allowed Gary Gator to pull a little bit of a gap. Marcel's got a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He becomes our second retirement in the session. Hamflap Kelly comes into the pit to put on a new set of tyre. Marcel, absolutely frustrated, started in P2, is out come lap 6. And now this has all turned on its head. David leads the way ahead of the Mercedes of JPS. JPS has closed up quite significantly in the last sector or two. Can the Mercedes find his way by? There's a massive gap behind us. March Reister is looking to make some sort of move on Nutria. He goes down the inside. This will be for position into turn 12 as the Haas gets ahead. But is that not going to be worth it? Because the Mercedes will have DRS. Yes, he is quite far back, but that DRS is very powerful. Is the Mercedes going to do anything? I wonder. Has he lost quite a significant amount of speed for any reason in particular? There isn't nothing going on there. JPS moves to the lead of the race as the Mercedes gets ahead of David before we jump into the chicane. The Alpine will be looking to try and get by as quickly as possible as Gary Gator is now closing them down. Parkster, where comes the first driver with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. He goes down towards turn 7. JPS sets the fastest lap of the race, but there is going to be more battling, as you know there will be. Shoot Fizzle, Nutria down, fighting into turn 1. There was contact the previous lap. Shoot Fizzle though getting by much more cleanly this time. And up into P5, the Mercedes is struggling, maybe having a little bit of damage to the rear because his rear end does not look nearly as planted as some drivers. As we go into turn 5, it is utter chaos. Touring car levels of racing in terms of how hard they're racing each other. And this is only the opening race. We're on lap 7 and we're now going to have 3 drivers fighting for the race win. All 3 of them have not pitted at this time. The JPS, David, is going to go into turn 12, nose to tail. Gary Gator just behind them. He will also have a bit of DRS. He has closed in quite significantly in the last 2 laps as the Sauber is looking to get by after a abysmal qualifying from the Sauber, which involved his retirement. Can he get back towards the front? He certainly has done so. Can he get to the race lead? DRS for David. He flies by the Mercedes, who has to concede the position. As once more the Alpine is in a very good place. As now we go down towards the start finish line. Nutria sets the fastest lap of the race. There's more and more fighting and scrapping as we go down the main straight for Nutria. Bomvia, Pumped Mantis will all be fighting with Parkster for position. 4 drivers, 4 different teams are looking for a position here. Parkstar has managed to put a little bit of a gap here. There's a bit of contact there between Nutria and Pump Mantis. That has pushed the Mercedes wide. That will cost him position, not just to the Red Bull, but also to the RB. As Bomvia goes down the inside into turn 5. There's a massive lockup. He's very lucky to get away without contact there with Nutria. You know, it was very Brown talent moment if you've ever seen one from the Mercedes. He's got very lucky to get away with that, but unfortunately the pace is not there. Meanwhile, there is a battle for position between the Red Bull and Parkster. He has made his way up to P6, but for how long? Parkster is looking for a move down the inside. He goes. Can he make a move stick? No, he can't. The softs just working just enough. Bit of oversteer by the Red Bull, but we have to turn our attention back to the race leaders, who will be going 3 wide down the straight. Can almost 3 wide. They're going to try, but he can't. The Sauber cannot get by the Mercedes either. They both get by the Alpine. David drops to 3rd, as now this has been costly and a massive amount of time loss from the Alpine as he goes down the straight, and bit of momentum loss if anything. As meanwhile the Sauber of Gary Gator is fighting JPS. This is the fight we were thinking we were going to have in qualifying before the Sauber retired, but Gary Gator is now all over the back of the Mercedes. Now goes down the straight round turn 3 and 4 towards Koval Lane. Down DRS does the Sauber have, but what can the Mercedes do in defence? He doesn't have to do much, just there's not enough road for him left. There's a 3-second time penalty though for our race leader, the first for him, and that is crucial. He's only on lap 9. He's got to be very, very careful now not to get another. He might have even got another there if he weren't careful. 3 drivers also closely matched. They're trying to make moves on each other, but these guys are really trying to catch him. Meanwhile, they got to think that it is Shoot Fizzle, who is 3.2 seconds behind. He's made his way up the field past Marchmeister in P4 in all of this fighting. But JPS and Gary and David now once more in each other's slipstream. Can the Mercedes make any sort of defence? But that 3 second will be hanging over him for the remainder of this race. Potential for more to come. DRS for Gary Gator. He will get by the Mercedes and take the race lead away from him. Cuts directly across him to make sure there is no late braking from the Mercedes. There's a massive collision there as the Mercedes tried to save his mistake, and the Alpine could not stop in time. That has completely ruined David's chances. He's got damage. The Mercedes continues on as he will fight Marchmeister into turn down towards turn 1, but that will allow the podium place to go to the Haas. Meanwhile, JPS is round once more, and that must be overcooked tyres. He must have really set himself up for qualifying, because that Mercedes is clearly not suitable for race pace. Bonvia has now got damage as well. He's going to try and look for his way by, but cannot do so at this time. That has really allowed a lot of drivers through. Parkster and Pump Mantis up to P4 and P5. There's a lock up there from the Sauber. That has allowed the Red Bull to draw alongside for turn 9. There's a bit of wall contact there with the wall for the Sauber as Pump Mantis is trying to find his way by down Sands Avenue. Can the Red Bull find his way by? Fine. He's been fighting this Sauber for a number of laps. However, his tyres will certainly be starting to feel it at this stage, as the Red Bull just has to concede once more. DRS for the for Pump Mantis. Parkster will have to do some sort of major defending, but there's not going to be much to do. We've got a Red Bull right up your diffuser as we go down towards turn 12, turn 14, sorry, and the Red Bull finds his way by JPS. As also defending from Bonvia, who cannot find a way by the Mercedes for now, who needs to certainly cool down his tyres, if anything, because his tyres will be in ruins. I believe he'll be entering the pit lane at the end of this lap, as that will allow Bonvia to be set free, but he does have a little bit of damage to boot. There is a little bit of battle now between the Mercedes of Nutria. David has got by for P9, but this has not been the most enjoyable races for either driver, who is quite far down the order. However, David will look to get ahead after JPS had that incident earlier on. Shoot Fizzle and Gary Gator are still 3.1 seconds apart, but there is consistent lap times there, and maybe if there is any sort of problems for Gary Gator at any point, the Aston Martin will take hold of it. Lock up there though from Shoot Fizzle as he goes onto the boulevard, as everyone has just spread out that little bit more as we wait for everything to happen. Gary Gator leads the way, but we are coming up to the pit window, and that will always throw up a little bit of spice as we go onto the end of lap 11 to start lap 12. Is very difficult curbing there to get right, because the Sauber just found out almost ended up on 2 wheels there from the Sauber, as Shoot Fizzle will be, despite being on a few lap younger tyres, will maybe start closing in as Gary Gator starts to come across problems more and more. Our closest fight, though, is either our P4 battle, who Pump Mantis is coming into the pit, and 10-second time penalty for Parkster, who is also entering the pit. That is devastating. He's retired from the session. He's thought that is that done, and that is out of pure frustration from the Sauber. Meanwhile, that leads us with one very, very close battle in terms of position. Nutria and Pump Mantis and David and JPS battle for P6 is raging on. It's going to start raging on now, Battle for P7 really at the moment. Pump Man is Nutria. Going to go to the inside for turn 5. Can he make Nutria make the move on a driver who's just come out of the pits on a new set of mediums? He does temporarily. Those cold mediums will come into effect at this time, but the Red Bull will certainly start to feel the grip as we go into later and later into Stinty outbreaks. The Mercedes has to try and go into avoiding. He thought that the tyres give a lot more grip than those hards, so the mediums will come into play a little bit later on. But at this time, down Sanford Avenue, fast flowing corners completely flat out before the turn 12, which he's got to be careful here not to go into the back of here of the Mercedes as they slowly catch Nutria. I need to get rid of that, but we're going to continue on as Shoot Fizzle sets the fastest lap of the race. He's now 1.6 seconds behind Sauber. Meanwhile, it's now Nutria looking for a move on David. He gets the DRS overtake on the Alpine, but I thought there was a bit of a slide there from the Alpine, but I guess not. He just went off my screens. But the Alpine now is going to have to slipstream up towards the line. He's going to try and make a move into around the final corner and into turn 1. He's going to get a massive slingshot into turn 1. JPS sets the fastest lap of the race. Down the inside goes the Alpine. Can he make the move stick? Unfortunately, not quite, as Nutria and him have another collision as David caught in another incident with another Mercedes, and that is heartbreaking for Nutria, who has not been treated too kindly at this stage. Pump Man is will pull a little bit of a gap over JPS in the and David in the Alpine and the Mercedes, but the Mercedes is now looking to try and get by the driver who, unfortunately for him, got caught up. The Alpine got caught up in the Mercedes' spin, and he's trying to make amends, trying to get by. But our attention will have to soon turn to the battle for the race. Shoot Fizzle is catching Gary Gator at a rate of knots as we go on to the end of lap 13. There's another, and that's out of the race. That is a Red Bull of Pump Mantis, who ended up in the wall at turn 12. Very unfortunate for him. Severe collision from 10-second time penalty for JPS, and that is very unfortunate. He's got damage now, as that is really, really unfortunate for Mercedes after David tried to avoid. And this will cause a safety car. 9 drivers will now remain in the session. Front wing change from Gary Gator, I think, and that has cost him quite severely. Shoot Fizzle will come out into the race lead, and that is really what the professional what the pole sitter, who what seems like a lifetime ago at this point, would have wanted. Is now he's on a fresh set of rubber. He's got the clear track in front of him once that safety car pulls into the pit. But with 11 laps to go, he's going to have Gary Gator, Marchmeister, and the rest of the field right up behind him. Mediums for the top 4, hards for Rubsy Cola, mediums for David, JPS, and Handflap Kelly, and Nutria are yet to leave the pit lane. Nutria will come out on mediums as well. So will Handflap Kelly on 2 lap old mediums. 10-second stop go penalty for the Mercedes. He can serve it. Luckily, he's got damage, but he can get on a new set of tyres and get underway once more. He's cleared his penalty, but it will be right at the back of the field. So, with all that excitement, with 14 laps in, 2 safety cars have emerged. Couple penalties have emerged as well. 2 3-second time penalties for the 2 Mercedes. 3-second time penalty apiece for the 2 Mercedes. But we will continue on. 9 positions gained from Marchmeister. 8 positions gained from Gary Gator in an excellent feat to try and get up the field. Shoot Fizzle remaining in the same place. He did 2 positions gained from Bonvio and 3 from Rupsy Cola respectively. David and Nutria both dropping 2 positions. JPS dropping 6, with Handflap Kelly dropping 1. We've lost 4 drivers so far, with the Red Bull Pump Mantis, Parkstar in the Sauber, Marcel in the McLaren, Rampant Gamer in the Ferrari, and unfortunately for them, we'll have to go to next week with pointless. And these drivers, who, if they all finish tonight, will get points on the board, which will be good for them, but they will be looking to try and get those higher end points as Rupsikola comes into the pits now. That promotes a couple drivers ahead of him, pretty much the whole field, apart from JPS. As the Williams is looking to put on a new set of mediums. Well, I'll say a couple of old mediums. So he will be. He has now got rid of those hard tyres, so now he's on the same tyre as everyone else, with what will be hopefully 10 laps to go if the Mercedes of JPS catches up in time. The Rupsikola will certainly do so in this phase. So it's been a lot has happened in the first 15 laps, but we have you've got such a tight top field in some areas. Some of these drivers are really close, but Gary Gator and Chu Fizzle lead the way in first and second. Marchmeister on the podium, who started right at the back. Sorry, Gary Gator started 10 positions behind, in 10th place. Sorry. So him doing in P2 it was absolutely phenomenal. P12 from, I believe it was from, T12 from Marchmeister, and Haas will be looking to try and get buying both these drivers up ahead, or at the very least keep up. But he seemed to have a very consistent pace, like the other with the other two, as we will be getting underway very shortly, hopefully. Mercedes catches up to the back of the field. It is safety car in this lap as we go underway once more. Shoot Fizzle leads the way. Gary Gator P2, Marchmeister in P3, Bonvia P4 with the P5 of David, Nutria P7, Anflap Kelly P8, Rupsikola P7, Anflap Kelly P8 for Rupsikola P9, and round out the field JPS. We're about to get underway. When does Shoot Fizzle go? He goes now. He gets a bit of a launch, so this allows him a little bit of breathing space into turn one from Gary Gator. Allows him to find his breaking point quite nicely there as we go into the first couple of corners. Can Shoot Fizzle now pull a gap over the Sauber, or will the Sauber keep up with him? He's very much stuck to that rear end in that magical 1 second window of the Aston Martin in front. However, they are not getting a very good camera angle, so that would be nice. Thank you, game. Lock up there from the Sauber though, as they're trying to pull away from the Haas behind them, who did drop back off the safety car restart initially. However, it may start closing back in now as we go down the straight down South Avenue, through the bends, through the curves, up towards turn 12. Can Gary Gator make any sort of impression on the Aston Martin as we go down the straight for the 16th time down Las Vegas Boulevard? He will have a slipstream. He will not have DRS, but it might not matter. He might be able to use that slipstream to his advantage, but the Haas is right there with them. There is a move for P8 as JPS has made his way up there. David has made his way up to P4 ahead of Bonvia, but the top three remain line astern as the Alpine is looking to try and recover what he lost early on in the race, being caught up in a collision with JPS. But we're now fast laps of the race are being set. Gary Gator right out on the back, and he's gone into the back of Shoot Fizzle. Got away with that very luckily. However, the Sauber really has got to reconcentrate here. He has really cost himself, because this that could have been even more detrimental to both their races, if anything, as Rupsikola is looking to get past Hanflap Kelly at 4P8. They're going to go side by side, but we're going to keep on with this battle for the race lead. They're right nose to tail. This field, they've got to be very careful here, as they could just end up like we saw with Gary earlier on, in the back of Shoot Fizzle. He's now goes Sands Avenue. He's sticking right and close to that rear wing of the Aston Martin. He takes very different lines. They're taking very different lines to try and get runs on each other. However, DRS is now enabled, so this could be game, set and match at this time for Gary Gator. DRS will be in a few moments. He won't even need it. He will have all enough from the slipstream, and the ERS they're going to go 2 by 2 like it's Noah's Ark as we go 4 wide almost, 3 wide. Definitely their pump mantis has left. Okay, then money's already retired. But that has allowed David to get through for P2. Gary Gator has got through for P1. Marchmaster has dropped down to P4. Shoot Thistle has dropped down to 3rd. David could make a move here on the Sauber. He goes around the outside of the final corner. Could he make the move stick? At the moment, he just about does so. Excellent job from David. He goes from P4 to P1 in all about 1 sector. Excellent job from the Alpine. He has excellent pace over his rivals, but can Gary Gator catch back up and try and make a move? He had pace, certainly had pace in the over David earlier on, but is it time that the Alpine starts to show his true peak performance? Going round the chicane now, certainly a man who had problems earlier on, but he is not having any problems. That's got caught on the wall as I say that, and that's the commentator's Gerspia. And now that has given Gary Gator all the momentum he needed to get back right behind him. He looks to the inside, looks to the outside as we go towards turn 12. Gary Gator just sits behind him that little bit longer. This is going to allow him to try and get that DRS and slipstream once more. He did get the lead down towards turn 14, but he lost out come the start finish line. But will it be the Sauber once more 3 wide at down the boulevard? Can he doesn't even get to the lead before Shoot Thistle flies by for P1. The Aston Martin doing an excellent job. Down the inside goes Marchmeister. Bit of contact there. Very lucky to get away with that though. As we go down towards the end of the start, end of the lap, it's a bit of a gap opened up there. Shoot Thistle, Gary Gator have got the lead too, but Gary Gator looks to the inside, breaks a bit later than Shoot Thistle as he's done the previous couple laps. He looks to the inside this time, which will turn to the outside for 3 and 4. But he will not be able to do anything as the Aston Martin could defend that beautifully. As we go DRS down straight towards turn 5. Can the Sauber find a way by? He just has to sit behind that little bit longer, as it at the moment is just having to wait, as everyone is very closely matched at this stage. As the top 7 are fighting out for a race lead. We're on lap 19 of 25 and it's not looking to hold down. We are heating things up here in Neo Racing League. Down towards Sands Avenue, through turn 11 into turn 12. When does the Sauber go for it? He's sat behind. He's been in P2, being the bridesmaid at this point for the last couple laps. Will he become the bride come the end of the start finish straight? It will not look like that as David swoops on by as he gets his flowers once more. Through to P1 as Marchmeister is going to make that 3 wide, and he's going to continue being 3 wide and 4 wide. Then down towards turn 14, and a couple of drivers backing out. Gary Gator though manages to get the lead, and that means Marchmeister drops down to P4 as David P2, Shoot Thistle P3. I've done that in an absolutely horrible order, but Gary Gator finds his way to P1 after multiple laps of effort. As a couple more drivers get penalties now. Nutria was certainly one of them. I wasn't sure about the rest, but we're going to continue on now. He's got a little bit more of a gap than what his rivals had over him in the previous few laps coming onto Coval Lane. But this could be the opening the Sauber needed. As despite the DRS from David, he hasn't really caught this much come turn 5. A bit of a lock up on the rear end there from the Sauber. This is going to be now or never from Gary as we go through their massive lock up off the rears. Those rears are not liking that 3-second time penalty. It is now costly. It is now David's chance to catch him. He does that penalty could be a race losing as we go down Sands Avenue once more towards turn 12. It is all eating up. Gary has a 1-second gap. This could be his moment to pull away, but he will need to gain it a little bit more. He will unfortunately be David made an excellent exit that will allow him to get within 1 second for that DRS detection, and by the point of the DRS detection he'll be 7 tenths. But Gary Gator will be managed to continue on. Nutria up to P5 as we go on down towards turn 14, it is still all kicking off as my voice is starting to go, but it is absolutely exhilarating stuff as we go down towards the end of lap 20. The top three have pulled that little bit of a gap over Marchmeister and P4 and the rest of the grid behind him. But it is not completely over as P4, 5 and 6 are fighting out for position. Nutria trying to find his way past the Haas, who's unfortunately dropped 1.5 seconds to his rivals, who are continuing to fight at this stage. After a lapsed breather, we are not getting a breather on here. Into turn 5. Does David look around the outside? He does so of the Sauber, and David moves up the P1. The Alpine has taken the position. Shoot Visual couldn't get anywhere near the two of them, but Gary Gator took defence and could not manage it. And now the David has won on attack. That 3-second time penalty on track, while on track, is the battle for the lead. It is that penalty looming for that Sauber. He's going to try and get by. There's a bit of contact there as the Sauber goes into David, and that is absolutely costed the Sauber of not just a race win, but a whole chunk of points. And now he will have a significant portion of damage as the Sauber is now out of his fight. David Shoot Fizzle will be fighting for the race's lead. Professional pole sitter now takes pole sitter takes the race lead. Meanwhile, Nutria is going to make a move for P3. He will take position. David gets a 3-second. Marchmeister right now is the one behind them, who will certainly take advantage as now down towards the final corner. Can Marchmeister find a way back by the Mercedes? He cannot, as he just has to sit behind. There's a bit of mistake there from the Mercedes as Marchmeister looks to try and get a move done. There's a bit of damage though on either side of the Haas's front wings as Gary Gator, frustrated with his performance, has now retired from the session. I'm not entirely. I do believe he just swayed slightly into David's path, and unfortunately, due to it being that corner, it has cost him. Handler Kelly moves up the P8. Unfortunately, that even though that would have been 2 points for the Sauber, he is not looking to take it. Frustration looms over some of these drivers. Nutria, Marchmeister going down the straight, down Sam's Avenue, towards the straight that is Las Vegas Boulevard, with Bomvia right behind them. But the leaders are 7 tenths between them. We're going to keep on with these three though. Battle for the final podium place on track. Marchmeister looking to get by because he can't lose sight of David, because David, with that 3-second time penalty, will be at the moment dropped behind Marchmeister, who takes position down the straight towards and will take the podium, final podium spot. At this time, he runs a bit wide though. That will cost him down as we go on to 216. That's another bit of damage there from the Mercedes, and unfortunately for him, that could cost him with a couple laps to go. Bomvia now, it's here. He's going to go down the inside in the final corner. That's ballsy. He made the move stick though, and into turn 1, final podium spot now goes to the RB, while the drivers behind him have damage. This could be Bomvia's P2 now, as meanwhile David and Shoot Fizzle will be battling for a race lead on track with 3 laps to go, and the Alpine has certainly not lost sight. He wants to win on track, even if you've got penalties. You do not, even if you've got penalties or not, even if you could win on penalties, you want to win on track. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. You want to make sure you said you can win no matter what. No questions asked. If you're Shoot Fizzle, you will not want to be dropping behind here, as David will be closing in and will come Las Vegas Boulevard. And unfortunately, Gary Gator's left the session, but that retirement will be very, very unfortunate from the Sauber. Shoot Fizzle and David now battle for the race lead. 8 drivers remain in the session. Just over 2 laps to go. DRS for the Alpine. Will he look to go by, or will he stick behind? He sticks behind that little bit longer. Marchmeister though continues and gets back ahead of the RB, but for how much longer? As Bomvia looks to try and make a move for the position. Parkster has left the session. He's already gone, so it's fine. Bobvia looking to try and make a move and repeat what he did on the previous lap, but cannot make it stick this time. And this, with 2 laps to go, it's all starting. He's still not quieting down, and everyone is not settled into position yet. Our podium places and our race wins are not set in stone. However, David has now extended his gap to 3 seconds with these guys fighting, so this could be crucial for David. He doesn't, I assume he's now thought of the bigger picture here. He might not try and fight Shoot Fizzle too hard so he can get that gap. However, Marchmeister and Bomvia fighting over the final podium place could get P2 and 3 here if David starts scrapping with the race leader. But however, has dropped back a little bit. He unfortunately had a very poor exit there, and that has really cost him. As we go on to turn 12, around turn 12 for the penultimate time, and just about keeping it on the track, but unfortunately has dropped back within that 3 second window, and this could be where the Alpine's tyres may start dying off compared to the driver around it. Maybe he's been a bit more aggressive with his tyres, but Marchmeister and Bomvia will not be taking it easy. They're going to be fighting with Nutria, who looks to try and make a move here as Bomvia tries to make a late lunge, doesn't make it work. He goes wide. That's allowed Nutria through for position. They're going to continue going side by side as we go on to the final lap of the race, and Bomvia manages to defend from the Mercedes man, but it is at the moment that could be podium costing for the RB, as that mistake has really cost him there. Marchmeister will maintain his P3. He actually has dropped back quite significantly from the Alpine. So this is our battle for the final podium spot then. Marchmeister, Bomvia will be fighting for it. Shoot Fizzle and David have got over a second gap between them. So can the Haas get defend just for that little bit longer? Go round the MSG sphere now. Can Bomvia find a way by, as the last lap is just we're in the last half a lap now, sorry, as we go down Santa Avenue one final time into turn 12, one final time onto Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Strip. No fighting up front. This is it, the battle for P3. Bomvia, Marchmeister, DRS for the RB. Has he perfectly timed it? He doesn't even need DRS. He goes by with the slipstream and he takes the position. And unfortunately for the Haas, has nothing to defend with. And that for the RB has taken position. JPS has taken P6, but all eyes are on the man in P1. It started on pole, has not been a lights to fly victory, but he will take the first victory of the season. Shoot Fizzle is the race victor in Las Vegas, as the Aston Martin celebrates his victory. P2 for David. He got that 3 second gap to the cars behind. Bomvia in P3, P4 for Marchmeister in an excellent race from him. Rupsicola will finish P5 ahead of JPS and Nutria in the Mercedes. Handflap Kelly will come home in P8. He's coming down Las Vegas Strip now, even though he has not been up at the has had quite a few laps back here because of these because of damage and everything. The Aston Martin will take a solid 4 points home. Will he take fastest lap? That is a good question, actually. Let's have a look. I'll find out. Hold on 1 second. Will he take fastest lap? I didn't say. I don't think he did, unfortunately. But that is our race, and actually takes 7th for some reason. But I don't think someone might have left. But that was our race, and congratulations to Shoot Fizz. So I will see if I can pull the man in himself. Let me quickly ask. Congratulations to Shoot Fizzle. Congratulations. Wait, no. That's not wanted. Oops. Hold on 1 second, sorry. I've just got to get my game up. There you go. So there we go. Shoot Fizzle will take victory. David, ahead of David, who got fastest lap. Very good job from the Aston Martin driver, and taking pole, taking victory, but not in an easy manner. Absolutely. That's an excellent job from from the Aston Martin. But that is the end of the race. I'm just going to quickly have a look, double check I'm actually pinging the right people. Yeah, I am. That's fine. Just quickly ask if he would do an interview. There we go. Let's see. See if I can pull him in. There we go. I'm doing great, mate. How are you doing? Let me just quickly get
Wonderful.
Absolutely, congratulations, mate. Smashed that race, but not an easy one.
But... it was not an easy one. But yeah. Vegas is one of those where it's nostalgic to me. Like, it's not one of my favourites, definitely not. But I got my first league race win there, so
I mean,
it holds a special place.
I mean, it must feel good to win here once more because it was a very, very chaotic race, but you managed to pull through.
Yeah, I got scared when everyone didn't pit.
Oh yeah, I was quite surprised when you pitted. To be honest, I was thinking it's only lap 2. I did you have any? I thought you had damage at one point, but clearly not.
Oh no, it was strats.
Yeah, I mean, so you went
I told Kelly to pit as well.
Oh, did you? So okay. So did you decide that going onto the hards there and then means you'd have a faster end to the race with the mediums, even if there wasn't a safety car, or
they would have lasted definitely.
I would have. Okay.
Because time safety car came out, it was about 20%.
Okay. So with that in mind, would how was your pace in comparison to the other drivers who stayed out and everything? Was you finding that that your pace wasn't really affected by the switch, or did that hamper you in any sort of way?
I mean, they didn't hamper me. I mean, I had a little incident turn 1 with a Merc and someone else, which did tamper how much time I would have gained. I would have been ahead of Gary if I didn't have that incident. But Gary did have some amazing pace, and I did struggle at points to actually keep up with him. In all fairness.
Yeah, I mean, it looked very close between the two of you, to be fair, for the most part. Same with David as well. You guys were going hammer for tongue in that latter half.
Yeah, I got scared at some points. Especially at that point where it was 4 wide. I was like, no, I'm not dealing with that. I had to back out of it.
Yeah, honestly, it is such a. It was. I was hoping someone would back out because it would not be fun going into that position. But at any point, did you have any doubts about winning the race or getting into the position where you did? And how did you alleviate those doubts if you did?
Well, I had a bit of a doubt because my rear just went out. So I shit it. Mainly because I thought I was about to get a 3 second. I was very lucky not to.
Did you have 2 warnings then, so you were like close to the penalty?
Yeah, I had 1 warning from just the silly mistake, and then another because of an incident when just after we were 4 wide.
Okay, so I just want to quickly go back to when you got pole position, because in that qualifying session, it was mixed conditions, and it was the crossover point for the most part in that early stage of the session. Was you surprised to find that people slowly trickled out those pits, and did you feel like that
I
really
thought
took
everyone was going to
advantage?
be straight out. That's what I was
Yeah.
doing. I was going straight out. I don't care. I didn't care what the conditions were. I was going on softs instantly out because it was still dry enough to where DRS was enabled. So I knew it weren't pure inters.
Yeah, I mean it it looked like the right call because everyone really did struggle. The only one who came close to you was Marcel, but he was already on the inters, so it seemed like that was certainly the right call. It could have been an easier race though, because even though you did get a pole that and a race win, a lot went in. A lot had to go into that with Gary
yeah.
Gator and everyone fighting for that race win for a number of laps. Was there any strategy with the long DRS straight of on the back straight of the boulevard?
I mean, I didn't really matter. It didn't really matter until about the last 5 laps, because you don't want to be ahead final lap unless you've got like say a 9/10 gap and a bunch of ERS. You'll be fine, but I did not.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. It's a very hard track for drivers, especially in the lead position, to keep holding ERS, especially on this game. But it worked out. You had a massive gap over, over a second and a half gap over the Alpine of David, even though he had a penalty.
Yeah.
Well, in your, I actually want to get a bit of psychological insight as well on that, because you, if he did try and fight you for that position, would you, even if he had, even with that penalty, would you still fight him for that victory, just to have that moral and moral confidence?
I always fight people, because you never know, they could get their 3 seconds removed. I've lost a couple of wins from that. So I always want to win it on track, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean,
even I could get a penalty.
That's absolutely fair enough. Yeah. So, and you did an excellent job today. 1.5 second gap in a track that you managed to pull that gap quite substantially, quite very well in this, like within a sector or two, because he had a massive error at some point, but you did an absolutely fantastic job.
That's where the rear came out.
Yeah, I mean, it was an excellent job, that drive, and congratulations on the win. Does this set you up good for the season now, and do you feel like heading into next week you've got more confidence?
Oh yeah, definitely. If I check what race it is, because to be fair, out of the first 4, this is my least confident. I believe it might be Abu Dhabi. Oh, that might be a cook. And it's a sprint.
Yeah, it's a sprint.
Even more points.
Even more points on offer, and that is next week. So
I'm coming for that world.
You go for what?
Coming for that drivers.
Yeah, you've certainly started off on the right foot. Thank you for the interview. You've done. Congratulations on the pole. Congratulations on race victory. Hopefully, no penalties come into play. So we hope that.
Yeah, I might have to see about some incidents, because I were in a couple. Turn 1 basically each time as well. I did do a cheeky little dive on one, which might give me a pen in all fairness, but it won't be a harsh pen, I don't think.
Basing on the...
And there was one with a Merc where I don't know what he did. I just don't think he saw me. Yep. And I was a decent...
Sorry, I think you cut out. Sorry. Hello? Well, unfortunately, I think he's cut out, but so thank you, Fizzle, for the interview. Congratulations on the race win. I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you all for watching. We'll be back next week for Abu Dhabi. It's a sprint race, so it'd certainly be there because it'll be more points to offer than this race. So we'll be here next week. Thank you for watching and goodbye.